Yeah, I'm well in range. So the thing is, if I just move a little bit, I'm still in range if he really wants to hit me. Plus he has, in reality, he's gonna have momentum. So that's why, like, when we're doing something like sendo window, even though the drill is intended to be one step, like one rep. It's not a technique like to learn to defend against 3 punches or 4 punches or whatever. It's a drill to focus on one thing at a time. But instead of having to reset, you can immediately go to the next rep. Does that make sense? So don't think of it as, oh, this is how you defend against someone who's trying to punch you 3 times in a row. That's not the drill. Because there's momentum involved. So if I move, he's still got momentum, probably. Especially if he thinks he can hit me again. Right? And maybe if I think of it in terms of steps, like step 1 and then step 2, he will nail me on the second. So that's why, like, it's an agreement that we're going to do one step at a time. So that we're practicing 1 rep in isolation. But the reality is there is no isolation, right? So I have to contend with him having momentum. Right? So if I'm thinking, okay, I want to move and stop, I don't know that he's going to stop. He'll probably keep moving. Right? So like, slowly but too. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to get hit. So that's why, like, if he throws one and doesn't throw another one, like whenever, like we're practicing something where the attack is a couple punches, but he only throws one because he's daydreaming, you keep moving. So what if he didn't throw a second one? Don't wait on him. Get out of this habit of being like a really bad, like old generation movie where it's frame, right? Think high definition. 4K, 4K high def. So it's movement. So anyway, taking that into account, using just Ichimonji as your defense. So minute Ichimonji, and you can throw a couple. Okay. And that just keeps me kind of safe. Right. Just having your hand in the way. Sometimes you might, like depending on the distance, might put it in his face. Right? If he tries to hit me here, another hand can replace, or if he's thinking momentum, like I'll punch you. So a lot of times people don't think I'm going to punch and now I'm going to assess. By then you could have hit me. They're thinking here. But try to use just Ichimonji. But be careful about breaking your guard. This hand's alive too. So punch me the same way. But look, like a little speed, but open hand. But 2 punches, not one, then one. Think 1, 2. That's what the other hand is for, because I can keep this in play. Right? Does this start to make sense? Right? This is the emergency hand. Right? So the idea is he can throw 2 or 3. Right? Comes hard now because I'm circling away. That's taking an angle. Or you can punch the same side. It doesn't really matter to me. Right? So it seems weird when you're just using this. Like, the thing is, when you start to use your hands, you do risk opening yourself up a little bit. Right? Especially if they're going in 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, really fit, fast. Right? So I'm just using this as a gauge as what my distance is. Yeah. So try that a few times, like try a few times right and left. Mix it up, like sometimes he's in posture and I'm in posture. We're this way, and sometimes we're this way. Like open to the same side or close to the same side. Okay. But just using the idea of Ichimonji no Kamae as your defense. Because what's to say you can't hit me back? not a game of tag. It's a barrage. It's like I'll tag. It's like 1, 2, 3. It's like I'm gonna knock him out by the third one. I hope. Boom, 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 and try to go. This is why angling is important. If you realize he's tracking you too well, then you cut a steeper angle, move. Then they're like over here, and they have to reassess. And it buys you a chance to counter. Okay? So it's a 2 or 3, mix it up, occasionally throw in 4. Barrage. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that they can learn to trust that this will tell them what distance they are, and they're not going to be able to get hit. Right? Or at least they're going to reduce their chances. Like if I start getting here, I'm in trouble because he can reach me. If I can stay about here, he's going to have to really stretch to reach me. And so I'm learning to trust Ichimonji as my range gauge. If I can stay out of range, I'm safe. If I feel like he's going to overtake that, then I can start countering because I know when the distance is going to happen or when the threshold is going to be crossed. Make sense? So this is tough. Like the counters and stuff we'll do some other time, but this is a really good way to get used to understanding range while under a little bit of stress because you have hands flying at your face and it's like, are you trained so that you don't do this? Can you like keep this? And if something gets through, you have your insurance with the backhand and put up some kind of guard. So the idea is maybe he can't get the range for whatever reason, and I'm able to get to him. Maybe we're in a more confined environment, so like more like a shorter thing, like a Jumonji type thing, maybe. And I go to hit him, and for the drill, it'll be touching his head. So I'm trying to go and touch the top of his head. So one way to do this, let's say I'm touching the top of the head, right, is he can take this shoulder kind of down towards this foot. So I miss, and it doesn't have to be that exaggerated. Just enough, basically, to not get this, right? So if and it's better to go to the outside of the attack. So if I go here, this is a little bit better. If I go here, that's better. But sometimes he might go to the inside. Yeah, might go to the inside. If that's the case, be aware of this hand or check it, right? Because he's putting himself down the line of my attack. If he's on the outside, it's a little bit safer. Same if I like jab and he goes to the inside, then he needs to know that he needs to check that hand. So we'll do 1 second going forward. Slipping forward is a little bit hard to do in this drill because you're actually moving a little bit forward. So he gives me 1, okay? And he gives me the next. He gives me 1. Yeah. So I'm trying to have my shoulder come kind of forward. So you're really just bending a little bit at the knees and tipping this forward, and that helps get your head offline so you don't get hit. So a way that you've slipped, so I'll take you, is I'm going to touch his head, all right? But don't move. I'm trying to pat him on the head. So if he slips, I'll hit his shoulder. If he slips, I'll hit his shoulder. That way he knows his head's out of the way. And if he's daydreaming or he screws up, I tap him on the head. Right? Questions? You look confused.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one before, so taking it all.
This is like basic boxing, really. It's just maybe I don't have the space or the time to move my whole body, right? And so I'm slipping my head. He's going for my head, and I'm trying to not get my head hit. There's all kinds of, we're just focusing on the movement right now, but there's all kinds of counters that you can do while you're doing it. Okay. So I'll take you. So do the whole drill. So we'll make it easy. So for 1, I'll start with my jab. That way go to the outside. And he creates a little space. He creates a little space. Now I'm really trying to tap him on top of the head. Like my focus is his hairline. And I'm trying to actually touch him. I want him to, if he's going to screw up, I want him to know it so he knows he needs to do better. I'm not cheating him by going. So if he goes, what I'm trying to avoid is that, like too much. I'm trying to get it where it's just enough. Because the thing is, the idea is that you read a couple of his punches. So like the first, like slowly, maybe the first punch he throws, and I like just a regular type thing. So maybe I like as if maybe like a jab. So maybe I parry this one, and I know like I got a feeling he's gonna throw the cross because a lot of people just instantly automatically throw the cross, right? So one more time. So I go, oh. And then kind of anticipate that, and then it gives me a chance to counter. That's why you want to make it like, watch some boxing sometime. You'll see how close they slip. And a lot of that's not on purpose. A lot of it's that they're trying their best, another person's trying their best to hit them, and so they get grazed. Right? But you can also like watch, I need to find this one again. It's a couple of kids getting in a fight in the street. And they're throwing wild, and somebody like slowed the video down, like it's super slow mo, and they're both like, and no one's landing a thing. No one is landing a single shot. I think one kid fell down because he either got pushed or he slipped. But it's like, because they're both kind of moving and throwing at the same time, nothing is landing. And then anything that does land is like a glancing thing or a non-vital area, and so there's no effect, right? So that's why you have to be precise. You get someone that fights like that, just cover up, make sure you don't get knocked out, and you can pick them apart easily. Right? Okay, so next one. So now this one will be a little bit easier. This same idea. Yep. Is now slipping to the rear. So before, just the one, I was kind of tilting the shoulder forward or forward. This time it's back. Right? Especially if you think there's a multiple shots coming. So if I'm maybe my hands are tired or injured, or maybe he just tried to take me down, and my hands were low because I thought he was going to take me down and he's throwing shots. So it might be something like if I was attacking him, that I go, and now I'm attacking. Like I'm trying to make him think I'm going down low, and then I'm punching him high. Right? Like the guy Monday night doing this thing, right? You have to get used to seeing odd postures too. Right? So, he's punching the rear shoulder to the rear leg, or the foreshoulder rear leg. But the thing is, he throws that one, that misses. But I'm not going to be able to do this the same time because I'm tapped out here. Like I'm as far as I can go really. So that same one comes, if I don't do anything, I get hit. So he can throw two. And I do it twice. And change my stance. So I'm like, and get out. Again, maybe we're in a distance that we don't like. It's not ideal for whatever reason. You don't always get to choose. So I don't like being this distance because he doesn't have to do much to hit me. But I might find myself there, so I need something to get out of it. So, right? And that's the drill. So you only get maybe 3 down the line, right? So we're here. And try not to fall down. That's where you got to be coordinated. Maybe start out slow so that you get used to this. And it's not an issue of really breaking command, like, it's an issue of ichimonji. So this time, he could throw a cross or he can throw a hook. I don't really know which, and I don't care. So you duck under it. So one thing is, if he goes and he throws one, it's not an up and down type thing, right? In this case, I don't, like the tap doesn't really count because it's a straight punch. He would have missed me anyway. But I don't want to stay in front of him. Like we're always taking an angle. So wherever he throws, I want him like kind of U-shape almost. Like I see it, oh crap, and then take an angle. So then I can counter. If he throws a hook the other way, yeah, the standard hook. All right, take it and just kind of go down the line. It can be straight, it could be a jab, like, or let's say it could be a straight, or it can be a hook. The one that's you have to read the opponent and we're kind of oscillating is don't like duck when it's like a straight kick, that or like a knee. That tends to get you hit in the head. But that's also why this is not. It's not this. Where I'm bowing. It's sink. Keep your eyes on it. So you lower your whole body. Use your knees. If he's swinging, I don't need to go that far. I need to clear what he's trying to hit, right? That's all I need to drop is wherever the height of what he's trying to hit. So you could say if he was like, if you read that he's gonna, if he's a terrible puncher and you read he's gonna hit you in the shoulder, just hit him. Because this doesn't matter. It's not a vital point. Now if he drops and he does it like to the ribs, yeah, that's not gonna be a very good exchange. So maybe if I read he was doing that, I'd drop it, boom, and immediately hit him. So that's one thing. The other thing, hopefully you kind of figure it out, is your feet placement, your posture. You start doing this, it gets really freaking hard to do it, right? Or to do anything for that matter. That's why when you're in range, you stay in a good, your legs stay in command. If you're out of range, you can take a chance to rest if the fight's lasting that long. If you got that much time, you should probably be attacking them or getting out of there. But that's important, like, or maybe you're in a place that you can't escape. There's a break in it. So there's a moment to rest. We're getting close, okay. And there's a moment to get back on, right? Same with attention, right? Awareness, like we were talking about at the women's thing. Like, if you know you're going to a dangerous area, then you heighten your alertness. If you're at home, you relax, right? You know, I know all of us heard at some point probably, you know, always stay in condition yellow, but it's impossible. You can't do it, and you shouldn't. You'll go nuts. You'll fry your brain.
It's called PTSD.
Yeah. You know, well, condition yellow is conversational. That'd probably be like condition orange all the time, PTSD. But I think if you're trying to stay at conversational awareness all the time, it'll turn into that. If you're existing at that all the time, yeah, you've probably got PTSD. And the occasional condition red. But yeah, not to mention the whole fluidity of the tension. But so it's the same with posture. Like here I can relax a little bit because he specifically is not much of a danger at this moment. You know, if I see, because I see his hands, I see his distance, he doesn't have anything. If he starts reaching for a gun, okay, tension goes up. Posture gets more solid, like more combative. Or, you know, if I know we're fighting or tensions are high, like, well, specifically if I know we're fighting and we start getting close to that threshold distance, okay, I've got to get in posture, you know, whatever that posture is. I got to be ready, and I don't want to move this way. It's, you know, if he's kind of encroaching in on me, then I keep the steps short so I can maintain posture. It's just how I'm able to move. Because if he's really, like if he was tall and strong and he starts reading that I'm kind of, or he could be suckering me in. Like let's say he backs up just a hair and he sees me doing this number. One is I can't regulate my distance as well because I'm doing units of one stride. Right? One stride. I'm already in danger. Or I can gauge it and go just a little bit. Maybe like a quarter of a stride. Does that make sense? So now I can regulate my range much better that way. The other thing is if he's kind of luring me in or whatever, or I think I'm aggressing on him and I'm doing this, and I get to here like you did on me, so I'm like, okay, boom, and kick his legs out from under. You know, and he literally won't have a leg stand on. Like you just sweep both legs at the same time and he hits the ground. So that's another reason why that's dangerous. Okay. So let's do 2 rounds, sendo mudo, using any of these 3 that we did tonight. Each one's your guard, slipping, or ducking and angling. If you get to the end of the mat or something, go run them off, stop, and just open up the space for them. No injuries. Again, break up the cadence. Attack, back off for a second, then attack. No constant attacks. No constant attacks. You attack 2, 3, 4, you back off for a second, then you attack again. It's real easy to keep attacking when the other person's not counterattacking. To be careful about on this, and I failed to mention the first round, but is I'm attacking, is don't do the Frankenstein, I'm constantly attacking. Because it's real easy to do that when he's not doing anything to threaten me. If he could hit me back, it's not going to be this easy. Like, it's going to be like, oh, okay, whoa. You got to get shot in there. Oh, shit. He's about to hit me. So that's why I say go 2 or 3 so he can practice his defense and then maybe circle around. Try another angle. Maybe change his stance up on it. Because that may change him. If he's not used to dealing with someone who's ambidextrous, then that could be a challenge. And plus it gives you a chance to attack ambidextrously. But like, the hooks are the only ones that are like kind of sort of fake because you're given a kind of a bit of a telegraph, but try not to do it too much like this. More like, okay, hey, I'm hooking. Because that'd be close to what I'd really throw. Same thing if I'm throwing a jab, I'm throwing everything biomechanically correct, or I'm trying to. I want to throw a leg kick, then I'm trying to throw that correctly. I'm just not doing a lot of power. Right? So if you're the attacker, you're still practicing your stuff too. You know, if I'm attacking, here's a question. Is anybody going like this? And using an angle to attack? Oh! All right, so now try it. Switch roles. He comes in. So you step up and get underneath. Right? Then as you hook this, you come across his the front of his body. The knee takes the balance and pull him back. You keep this tight, right? You throw him back over. And there's a choke. Let's change sides. So get anuke as you step up with the left. Come across, thumb inside. Knee takes the balance. Pull him down. You can hold this tight. Or you can go across the shin this way. And there's a choke and an arm bar. This side's thick, dog eye. So come across. You take the knee here, right? Trying to be careful with your shirt. You go inside, like, as you go in, you might hit him. Right? And then you drop him. And I'm trying to be careful, but you want him on the side. Like, because you still have leverage on the elbow. This is just the collar. right? It's a choke. So the trick is, once you get in there, is like you press, like you kind of enter with your wrist sort of bent, like up. That way, once you get a grip, you straighten your wrist, it's now pressing into his throat. Right? Then the collar becomes part of the friction. Like when he's on the ground, like his body weight does a lot of it for me. But standing up, you pull this down and then come across. Right? So, boom. And don't let him go to his back. You have to stabilize. And you have an arm bar and a choke at the same time. If you're, after you're going down, if you bend your wrist this way, it takes it all out. Like I got nothing here, right? No matter how much I constrict, I got nothing. So you keep it straight, right? Okay, try to get on your side. Okay, so one is you don't want him laying on his back, because now I don't really have much, right? You can still pull it off, it's just less efficient. You can like start to turn this and then move it. But in any case, like you get the, either like near the knee, and sometimes you need to do it near the ankle. If you're doing this correctly, you give him motivation to turn himself over. You don't pull him over. Right? He moves himself. So I guess another point I was going to make, and I can't remember what it was. Maybe that was it. Yeah, like you don't have to try too hard to move him. Like, oh, that's what it was. So, you have the option of breaking his elbow, right? Well, it depends on your purpose. So, like this is from Takagi Yoshinobu, which was like a bodyguard school. So maybe the goal would be to restrain him and then interrogate him. Right? So you wouldn't break his elbow. Because once you break it, you have no leverage, really. Like, especially if you break it completely, and it just turns to rubber and it's all pain, and he's likely to get, like, go crazy and, like, panic and start thrashing. Now he's harder to control. Or you give him a little bit of pain in a direction, and he chooses the direction. It's the worst direction he can choose. It's like, I think it was like Takagi review a few years ago. As soon as they were saying, like, was it that year? I can't remember. One of the concepts was like, you cut off all the avenues of escape for the opponent except for one. It just happens that one escape that it puts him in a worse position. So you give them a way out on purpose so that they'll choose that way. And it's the way that you control them. So maybe that's also Mutogori, since that was the theme the last few years. So, like, you don't have to beat him into submission, basically. You give him a way out. It's just either the worst one for him or the best one for you. Or maybe sometimes both. That's easier said than done. But you think about it, it's a very well-known principle. You know, the Battle of Thermopylae. Does anybody know what that one is? Yes, yes. No? Yes. Battle of Thermopylae?
I've heard of it, but
No? It's because you haven't watched that fucking movie yet. So, everybody heard of the movie The 300? That was Battle of Thermopylae. So it was like, there were maybe 300 Spartans, but there's also 20,000 Greeks. So it wasn't 300 against a million, exactly, as far as I understand. But, you know, Hollywood. But they did hold off a superior force by bottlenecking them, giving them only one route to go until reinforcements could arrive. That's where we get the story of Marathon, right? One of the soldiers at the Battle of Thermopylae had to run back to, I forget where it was, to get reinforcements, or to say that, hey, we won, or something like that. I can't remember. My history's rough. And it was 26.1 miles, I think, from point to point, and the guy died on the spot. As soon as he's like, you know, yeah, I think it was they won. He ran all the way back, and he said, anybody know the word he said? Nike. You know, the shoes? Nike means victory. It's the goddess of victory, I think. So it said Nike, and then he claps dead. So
Just do it.
maybe delete that part out, because I'm not sure that's completely accurate.
It's not good corporate sponsorship.
That sounds like
Yeah.
a Nike commercial.
Well, that's the thing is like, what the hell does Nike mean?
Just bleep out
As
Nike.
far as branding goes, like, what the hell is a Nike? What's a Reebok? Names don't matter. If your brand is strong enough, your name doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, by doing that, you give him one option, and it just lands him in a worse place. Like, because maybe you turn him over onto his stomach where he can't defend himself. Right? That's why, like, we're always facing the opponent newaza, so that you can have your hands and your arms in front, so you can do something with them, like fight. If they're on your back, your chances are way lower. So you put him on his stomach so that you're essentially on his back. And especially if you can do it in such a way that his arms are out, not in front of him. So if you ever get turned over in this position, do it on my bad shoulder. Because I don't know that they can handle what I'm going to show. So you do it this way, and you realize you're going to turn, right? And so you get a hand under you if nothing else, because that gives you space to now move. If I'm, even if he's got the, like, barring my arm a bit, it gives me something to do. I can move a little bit. But if I'm here, I'm stuck. And I can't really do much with this. If it's out here and he sees me doing this, he knows I'm going for a weapon. Okay? So if you ever find yourself down like that, try to get your arms under you. So it gives you a little bit of space to maybe move.